Hey everyone, welcome back to HD Reddit Reads. Today's topic is, what conspiracy theories do you think are too logical to ignore? Let's get into it. This one isn't as serious as most of ones on here, but I enjoy it and I've gotten into many convos about it. In the 2017 NBA playoffs, a player named Markieff Morris, who at the time played for the Washington Wizards, hurt his ankle in one game. This was only 11 minutes into the game, and he didn't return. The injury looked like he would be out for a couple of weeks, and no one expected him to play Game 2, but he showed up Game 2 and played as if he was never injured. In fact, he had his best game statistically of the playoffs to that point. Here's where it gets interesting. Markieff Morris has an incidental twin brother named Marcus, who also plays in the NBA. His brother was playing for the Pistons, who are eliminated from the playoffs already. The theory is that Marcus played for his brother. Both brothers have the exact same tattoos and don't have any super apparent different traits. Pretty sure I saw this on Reddit at one point, but someone brought up the art trade, that these $1 million art shows / individual pieces that go up for insanely high prices are just a way of money laundering. Tax write-off even. So a real estate friend of mine told me that if you made $1 million, you should get a shitty painting done. Have a mate who happens to be an art critic or evaluator value the piece at $50,000, then donate the piece to charity stating its value. That allows you to claim a deductible of $50,000 towards your taxable income due to your charitable donation. Genius. David Miscavige, the chairman of the Church of Scientology, definitely murdered his wife and is getting off scot-free for it. Him and his wife got into a pretty heated argument in 2007, and she hasn't been seen since. Lawyers hired by David claim she is still alive and devotes 100% of their time to work at the Church of Scientology, which is why she hasn't been seen since August 2007. In 2013, a former member of the church had filed a missing person report that was closed after a few officers had spoken and seen Miss Miscavige, even though there was no evidence whatsoever of this meeting. All missing persons reports now are turned down since this investigation is forever closed. Leah Remini has had it investigated as well, and written letters to Shelley with no response. Before Leah left the church, she wrote letters to Shelley that the church refused to deliver, and when she asked where Shelley was, she was told she didn't have clearance to ask that question. This one is small and local, but is too insane to ignore and just came up today. Just recently, our small suburban town's favorite gas station went out of business. Everyone went there. The guy who ran it was the mayor. He retires and sells the property after an issue with the ground underneath the gas pumps. They tear down the gas pumps and keep the garage. Mavis Tire bought the property and opened a new store. A few days after the Mavis opens, someone posts a picture on Facebook of an intersection at a road near it with nails all over it. The guy theorizes that a box of nails fell off of a construction truck. The police come to clean it up and it seems all is well. Fast forward a few days later, and people are commenting on the post that they are finding nails in their car tires, not just from the intersection. People jokingly say maybe it was the new Mavis guy throwing nails around, but nothing really happens. Several weeks later, people are posting day in and day out pictures of nails in their car tires. My dad took my car into Mavis in question about 3 weeks ago, and they found a nail inside the front right tire. I noticed that it was driving sort of funny, but never that my tire was on the verge of exploding. I jokingly said, people have been saying you guys have been going around throwing nails all over the place. Trying not to laugh at how insane it sounded, say out loud. The guy behind the counter said nothing but, yeah, with a weird smirk. Over 50 people have posted on the town Facebook that their cars have had nails in the tires. My mom is driving my car now because her car has a nail in the tire. It's been almost 3 months. I'll post updates if anyone's interested. Edit. It totally might not be Mavis. There isn't any proof right now, and there are other possible reasons for the nails, but timing is too perfect to ignore. Jamie Lynn Spears, Miranda Cosgrove, Victoria Justice, etc. were raped by Dan Schneider. Nickelodeon let him get away with a lot. There's so many feet jokes in all the shows. A lot of those interviews with the cast members get really awkward when they are around Dan. If you got to pursue your dream career when you really wanted it, wouldn't you do just about anything? If you made Dan Schneider mad, your career would be ruined and your dreams would be over. Edit. I do admit rape is a strong allegation, but he is at least really creepy with the feet jokes. At the very least, he is a pedophile with sexual attraction towards his female stars. The Denver airport theory. I mean, the capstone of the building literally has Freemason logo on it. There's some weird ass apocalypse murals on the walls. The runways look like swastikas, and there's a 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes. I mean, seriously, who the F designed that place? Building the airport cost $3 billion, and the labor was piecemealed out through countless contractors, so nobody knows who built the full scope of it. Oh, and that 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes killed its creator. DIA is a weird place. U.S. intelligence conducted organized blackmail operations out of Epsteins Island. The prosecutor handling Epstein's old case was told to back off and go easy because Epstein was intelligence. Acosta's departure from the administration confirmed that this was just not a rumor. So, as an American, I would really like to know exactly who is blackmailing who, how far was it extended, and what political decisions were affected. Our phones and/or apps on them are listening to our conversations. I'm super anti-conspiracy theory, but this has happened to me way too many times in the last 2 years. I impulse shop really badly. I carry cash for explicit purpose of, I can use this guilt-free for an impulse purchase. 2 years ago, I bought high-end lipstick with a cash in a store after doing zero research on the brand. The next day, I had ads for it despite never even previously hearing of that company before. I had even talked with a sales associate about the brand for a while. 6 months later, a very similar thing happened when I switched hair care products to a specific brand. Later that night, I had ads for their company which I had never heard of or looked up pre or post purchase. 8 months ago, I ordered a cider I had never heard of at a bar in New York City. Didn't research the company or anything about it. Not even 2 hours after I left the restaurant, I had ads for the brand of cider on my Facebook. There's easily 5 to 7 more times I could think of, but these are the ones that bother me the most, because I am positive the transactions were all in cash. I had never looked up the product before, and I had very targeted specific ads for the exact companies less than a day later on most of my social medias. Edit to ad. I know how location services work, and that's how advertisers get a lot of data, because of where you go and shop. But shopping at a huge store with hundreds of brands, Ulta, Sephora, Macy's, etc., what are the odds that I got an ad for the exact products I bought? Like, genuinely. They weren't on sale, weren't researched, the sales reps didn't help me find them. Same thing with the bar. They carried dozens of brands of booze and specialty beers and stuff. What are the collective odds I got multiple specific ads for exact brand of cider I ordered off a menu of 50 plus drinks? That's the weird part. If I had just gotten generalized targeted ads for those stores or random products in those stores, fine. Or had gotten ads for stuff that I had bought before and had researched a lot, also fine. But the odds of 3 ads for highly specific brands/items within a day of me buying those items from a large broad store in cash is just too much. Even the most advanced algorithm couldn't have predicted a spontaneous $100 Lorac/MAC lipstick purchase with the only data being, this person is in Ulta and has googled Urban Decay eyeshadow before. That Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson are Michael Jackson's actual parents. That's why he was the talent in the Jackson family, and why that there are rumors that he was Evan Ross's father. They both look like Diana. Smokey would have been 18 and Diana 14 years old when Michael was born, so Berry Gordy arranged to have the kid given to his old boxing buddy and fellow musician from Chicago, Joe Jackson, who he would fund leading the formation of the Jackson 5. Joe had a big family where Michael would get everything he needs while training him to be an entertainer, and Motown could protect their image by taking the child out of the picture. It turns out the kid is a talent, and as we all know, Jackson 5 make it to Motown. But even before that, there were several documented instances of Diana Ross in Gary, Indiana, such as the school talent show where Jackson 5 performed. She has said multiple times on live television that Michael is her baby/child, says she's doing it all for him, and joked about him playing her son in a future movie. She has also said publicly she was in love with Smokey Robinson growing up, living on the same street as him in Detroit, which is odd because he had a girlfriend during that time, who he later married. Diana also changed high schools around the time Michael was conceived, when she would have gotten pregnant. She was going to a new school to be a seamstress, and Smokey had enrolled in an engineering college around the same time. Because they were soon to be parents and Motown hadn't broke big yet, a decade later the Jackson 5 auditioned for Motown in Detroit. then did a second performance at a Motown get-together at Barry's house. And Michael stated at that point Diana told them she wanted to take a special interest in their career. There's a movie called Double Platinum which stars Diana Ross and is about how she gave up her kid for a career and later reveals to the kid she's her mother when she sees that the kid has talent, then goes on to help her with her career, which would parallel the real-life story with Michael. Her daughter in the movie also wears a dress that has the same design as the shirt Michael wore in Billie Jean at Motown 25. It's written by Michael in his autobiography Moonwalk that he and the Jacksons lived with Diana Ross in Hollywood Hills when Jackson 5 first signed to Motown and moved to LA, and her and Michael used to go out almost every day, just the two of them. This would have been when Diana Ross revealed to Michael she's his mom. He would have been about 10 years old, that's why he became quiet and shy from then on. This wouldn't be her only time doing this. When she had a daughter with Berry Gordy, she didn't tell her who her father was until she was 13. Smokey Robinson also stated that he was leaving the Larry King interview shortly after Michael passed away, that one of his fondest memories of Michael was when he was going golfing at the age of 10 or 11 with him and Bobby Taylor, who is said to have discovered the Jackson 5 even though their first album at Motown was presented by Diana Ross. This is also what Michael meant in the song Billie Jean when "This happened much too soon, she called me to her room. Diana was the one who said, I am the one, the kid is not my son. She meant, I am your mother, but you're not my son, you're Jackson now." Diana Ross is Billie Jean. Diana plays a character called Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues, which came out a few years before The Wiz with MJ. This is also what the song Dirty Diana is about. It's about Diana Ross, the groupie who seduces Smokey Robinson, who she grew up with on the same street, conceiving Michael. Then there's the song Who Is It, which is about a mystery person who abandoned Michael, and in the music video he holds a card that says Diana. The song Wanna Be Startin' Something also talks about how if you can feed your baby, then don't have a baby, and again refers to the mystery Billie Jean character. He references Ain't No Mountain High Enough in the song Leave Me Alone and says, Don't you come walkin', beggin' back, mama. He also references Ain't No Mountain High Enough in songs Baby Be Mine, Speechless, and Keep the Faith. This is all also why you see a weird sexual dynamic between Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, but you will never actually see a picture or video of them making out. Recently, a video surfaced of Diana Ross singing You Are Not Alone to Katherine Jackson, just like how she probably used to sing Ain't No Mountain High Enough to Michael when he was living with her. This is seen in the aforementioned movie Double Platinum as well. Diana sings her lost daughter to sleep with a famous song, and in TMZ's video, the last time we saw Joe Jackson, an old senile Joe says, I raised Joe, he's my son, and Quincy Jones knows better. I don't talk about it, no way. He's defending the supposed fact that Michael is his son for a seemingly unknown reason, and even in past interviews he's always emphasized, he's a Jackson. After MJ's death, Joe, when interviewed, said he was doing great. Meanwhile, Smokey Robinson went on Larry King's show and praised MJ as an artist. This theory explains why Michael not only looks like Diana Ross and has the same features and eyes as her, but also explains why his facial structure looks like Smokey's, and their profiles and ears are completely identical, and why he was a musical prodigy who had the stage presence and songwriting abilities of his real parents. Diana, Smokey, and Michael are the only three musicians beside the Beatles who have 2 stars each on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for being a member of their original group and one to celebrate their success as a solo artist, as well as having a soft voice, which both Smokey and Diana and Evan Ross have in common. Now you can see why his personality developed the way it did. It's why he acted like an orphan and called himself Peter Pan and built Neverland to help disadvantaged kids, why he isolated himself from his family and could never manage to have a normal relationship with women. It absolutely explains why he had such a severe identity crisis, and it explains why Diana Ross is second to Katherine Jackson in his will regarding who would take care of his children, and why Joe Jackson has been known to dislike Diana Ross. At Michael Jackson's public memorial, the first person that comes out is Smokey Robinson reading a letter from Diana Ross, who writes that she's mourning so hard that she cannot attend the memorial, and that Michael was part of the fabric of her life. When Smokey speaks about MJ later, he calls him his little brother, which would imply blood relative. In the movie Hitsville, USA, The Making of Motown, Berry Gordy jokes with Smokey about how some of the babies that the groupies were having were his, and that MJ reminded him of a little Smokey. Also, the movie An American Dream was about the Jackson 5 and would have been propaganda to reinforce the cover-up story. So, it wasn't that Michael was ever trying to look like Diana Ross, like people thought. He was actually displaying features and mannerisms that he inherited from her. In one of the clips below, she says that she has the same features, skin tone, and bone structure as her. Now you might say, well, Janet looks a lot like MJ, but growing up in the shadow, she adopted many of his mannerisms and used makeup and plastic surgery to replicate his appearance, like LaToya did. But their vanity was merely deception. Joe and Barry branded and marketed the Jacksons a certain way to make Michael seem related, such as the matching outfits and afros. But if you look at their features, it's clear the only similarity to Michael is the way they smile, a learned trait. MJ has much more defined features and is rail thin like Diana Ross, and his nose and chin match Smokey's. Now it's clear why Joe told him that he had a fat nose and singled him out so much with the abuse. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.